Hi, this is Joe again with another review, and I want to keep, talking about now more of the Christmas specials, and more traditional Christmas specials. And this time, I just did one with, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, what I call Rudolph the Red-Nosed Dumb Deer, not telling off Santa Claus to fly your own sleigh pretzel, after constantly putting up with his insults. Well, this review I'm going to be doing the next big holiday special is constantly being on TV, almost as long as Rudolph, and that's of course is Frosty the Snowman. And like I said, it's also another Rankin and Bass produced Christmas special. And like I said, they were the kings of the Christmas specials. And this one was comedian Jackie Running as the voice of Frosty, and of course the narrator of the special, and you do see him, at least a cartoon version of him, throughout the special. And he also at the end of the show sang the Frosty the Snowman song, and that is the late great Jimmy Durante. And of course, with his voice, he did a terrific job narrating this thing and singing the song of Frosty the Snowman. But of course, occasionally you may hear his version on the radio sometimes. But on to the special. Of course, this is one of the many Christmas shows during the 1960s that's based on a famous kids-friendly Christmas song. And of course, who doesn't know the story of Frosty the Snowman? Practically nobody. And of course, Frosty was brought back to life, or the kids in this special, the first snowfall of the winter season, and it was the last day before Christmas break. And they built a snowman out of the school, in the schoolyard, and they decided to name him Frosty. And of course they found this hat. Now this hat, literally in the song we call it an old hat. In the special, the hat that brought Frosty to life was actually a hat from a magician that was born in with a school teacher to entertain the kids for the last day before Christmas break. And the magician got so disgusted that none of his tricks he wanted to do with this hat never worked. But they're so disgusting they just threw the hat away. And of course the kids found the hat and put the hat on top of Frosty's head. And for some reason it worked. Whatever magic was in the hat worked and brought Frosty to life. Now the magician found out that the hat did have magic in it and wanted the hat back. And of course the kid says, you threw the hat away. It's not yours anymore. Now it belongs to Frosty because you threw the hat away. And so they got the hat back. And of course, now they have to get away from this magician. So now once they get his whole hands back on the hat, and get the hat back. And of course, when certain parts of this, the only real criticism I have of this special is the fact that for somebody who was just brought back to life, how in the world does he know what a thermometer is? Because of course there was a thermometer on the wall of the school building, and he saw that the thermometer was going up, or the red was getting all reddish. And he saw that the thermometer gets all reddish, they saw the melt. How would he know that what a thermometer is? But when they had the scene when they marching through town, and the police officer, when the cop stops him, and the traffic cop stops him, the cop says to Frosty, "Don't you know what? Did you see the traffic light?" Frosty says, "What's a traffic light?" He doesn't know what a traffic light is, but he doesn't know what a thermometer is. That's what that's pretty much what the my big criticism is of Frosty the Snowman. But as a show, it was very good, very entertaining show. And he became friends with one of the school kids named Karen, who decides to go with Frosty. And of course, that's actually, it's my second problem with it, is that how come Karen's parents so hey, where's Karen? How come she didn't come home from school? How come the parents aren't looking for her? As she travels with the snowman all the way up to the North Pole, so it won't melt. That's the end to be Al Gore, who thinks that Frosty will melt if it goes to the North Pole because of global warming. Right? So anyway, the Karen's parents is not looking for her. That's the other. There's really the only two problems they have with this one. Now, of course, the magician does follow them up to the North Pole and tracks them down. And there was this little greenhouse. And Karen says, "Oh, I could warm up in this greenhouse." So he says, "Alright, I'm going to stay in here with you for a while." And then, of course, that's what happens. The magician finds him, locks him into the greenhouse, and of course, Frosty melts. And Santa Claus comes because the forest animals want to track Santa Claus to this little forest that they're in, so he can possibly take Frosty out to the North Pole, so he can permanently stay there, so that he will never melt. So of course, when Santa Claus finally does get, this is when Santa Claus was decent. Not like in my previous review with Rudolph. This one he was really nice to everybody. And of course, according to the narration of Jimmy Giovanni, he speaks a fluent rabbit. You gotta be impressed with a guy who knows how to speak fluent rabbit. Anyway, he finds that Frosty is melted, all melted, and then they said he was trying to console. Santa Claus was trying to console Cameron and said, "Look, he was made out of Christmas snow." And as long as the simple wind hits, of course, after Frosty, he will come back to life. So of course, that's exactly what happens. Only in the cartoon it happens. And of course, it brought Frosty back to life. And of course, the magician says it was naturally going to take the hat back. And Santa Claus says, "So you put one finger on the brim, you're never going to get any Christmas presents for as long as you live." I said, "No, anything?" I said, "No, nothing." So he says, "Okay." He says, "Back off, because he's not going to get any more presents for Santa Claus if he lives with Frosty again." And of course, he put the hat back on Frosty, and he's back to life. And just before Santa Claus takes him to the North Pole, Santa drops Karen off at her house. And that's pretty much how the show ends. And of course, during the closing credits, you have Santa Claus, Jimmy Giovanni singing the Frosty the Snowman song during the closing credits. And then, of course, you have Frosty saying, "We'll see you on Christmas Day." And then just flies away in the Santa's sleigh. That's how it ends. It has a Christmas special. It is one of the better ones. It's definitely one of the most popular ones. And like I said, other than Rudolph and Johnny About Christmas, it's the only one that's been playing on regular television since its original debut back in 1965. And of course, also that year, 65, that's when the Charlie Brown Show comes on, which we're going to probably get to another video. But of course, since that show was so popular, they made a second sequel, which was actually called Frosty's Winter Wonderland. And this show, for some reason, is not on regular television anymore. And it hasn't been on regular TV like at least 20 years. Probably even more than that. And they had this particular show, instead of Jimmy Giovanni narrating it, was Andy Griffith, from the Andy Griffith Show, narrating this show. And that's when Frosty gets married. And they made a woman, a snow woman, for Frosty, and they get married. And they made like a preacher a snowman preacher. He married Frosty and his wife. I forgot what the wife's name was because it's been so long since I've seen the show. But the villain in this particular special was Jack Frost, the infamous Jack Frost. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. They brought in this guy for the special, and he doesn't really do much as a villain. But they did that for a sequel, and that was definitely a better sequel than the sequel that originally debuted in 1995. It has been airing on CBS ever since in the 1 hour block. They put the original Frosty the Snowman show, and then they put this one on there. It was called Frosty Returns. And originally aired in 1995 and has been airing every year since. And let me tell you, Frosty Returns has to be, without a doubt, the worst Christmas special I've ever seen. The worst. Because it has to do with this little small town, and the adults in this town are playing like this winter carnival thing. And the adults are tired of snow. Of always showing the snow, or snow plowing in and all that. So there's this evil corporate guy. This old corporate guy makes this stuff that destroys snow. And of course, the two kids who are the main part of this plot, this episode, or this special, they protested this guy, and they fought, and they eventually, by the end of the special, having to win out. And like the other two specials I mentioned, that Jackie Williams was the voice of Frosty. In this case, it was John Goodman, for the Roseanne show, was the voice of Frosty in this one, because Jackie Williams was dead already. So they brought in John Goodman, and this show was, like I said, the worst Christmas show. That's why I'm not spending much time on it, because that's how bad it is. And I'm surprised there's not many YouTube reviewers out there talking about how bad that special is. But during the time of how popular Rudolph was, and with Frosty, they decided to, I think back in the early 70s, 72, whatever it was, they decided to combine the two characters. Or Rankin and Bass decided to combine the two characters, and they made a full-length feature movie called Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July, which I didn't see all that much either. I've been trying to see it on YouTube, but every time I do so, somebody, YouTube has the copyright blocks on all the time. So it's very hard to see the full thing on tape. But the biggest voice was in there was Ethel Merman. They did like a traveler circus thing, and it's doing like a Christmas thing in July. And then somebody zaps Rudolph's, this evil wizard, who's the villain of this thing, zaps Rudolph's power of Rudolph's nose for glowing. And because that's the only thing that would beat this wizard is Rudolph's nose for some reason. So he zaps Rudolph's nose from ever glowing again. But that movie, that thing wasn't all that bad. At least he had like a real threat to Rudolph and Frosty. Because in the previous specials that were in, I thought there wasn't enough of a threat. In this one you have a legitimate threat. So it's not bad. That special was not all that bad. But that's my little before review of the Frosty the Snowman specials. And I hope you like my video, watch all the other ones I've done, subscribe to my YouTube page, my YouTube channel, and I'm probably going to do other specials. So catch you later.